those are the towns where if you see your town listed there, you should be taking shelter now. Essentially, the northern part of Onondaga County, clustered around Route 31, you're under that tornado warning. That's where the strongest rotation is showing up on our radar screen right now. As we look at the velocity scan, we can get in a little bit closer here. So there you go, right around Baldwinsville now. We've got the rotation going on. So you're getting the worst of the storm right now. Strong rotation toward the radar, right next to strong rotation away. So that is now, a rotation at least within the storm right now. Radar indicated tornado showing up near Baldwinsville, right along Route 31, and that will be tracking to the east. So now's the time. Head to your safe space. You may have heard your phone buzz just a short time ago. Now's the time to take action. Obviously, Baldwinsville right under it, Village Green. As you go farther to the east on Route 31, let's move this down here. Again, Clay is up next. It's going to be crossing, Oswego Road, Wetzel Road, 481 as well, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to widen out the view. I think we still just northern Onondaga County, but Phoenix, Shrupel, Central Square. Be mindful that the rotation has been moving north and east, and that could work its way into extreme southern Oswego County. So you may be warned, and you may want to take your precautions right now. I don't know, anything else to add?
Nothing else to add, but I can say, like you said earlier, Jim, that couplet there, that's the tightest I've seen it and most impressive, even compared to last Wednesday.
Yeah.
That is an impressive velocity.
Now this is, again, just east. I know it says Baldwinsville, but this is a little bit farther east of Baldwinsville on Route 31. Things will go downhill very quickly on these areas east of Baldwinsville itself. So let's show you there. You got that full screen. Let's go back to where the warnings are. And again, these are until 2:30. We'll see if there'll be any new warnings that come out after this. Right now, there's a severe thunderstorm warning farther south, parts of Tompkins, Cortland County. We've got the tornado warning in effect for northern Onondaga County until 2:30 this afternoon. In particular, north of the Thruway, that seems to be the area most prone to damage at this point, moving through Baldwinsville, headed toward Clay, Phoenix, Central Square, again, right on the border there, Brewerton as well. Severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Oswego County, and also Watertown. You're getting the brunt of the storm also there, as there's another tornado warning until 2:30 in right now in central Jefferson County. That includes Dexter, Black River, Watertown as well. I'm going to go over to the Watertown camera just briefly here, just to show what we've got there. Rain obviously falling much more heavily than we showed you about 5 minutes ago. The wind right now, at least in downtown, doesn't seem all that bad. But again, tornado warning currently in effect there. Let's go back to the radar screen here as we show you the perspective of what's going on across central New York. All of central New York under a severe thunderstorm watch. The worst of the weather is coming through right now. In downtown Syracuse, the rain will be picking up. The tornado warning, the northern part of the county, and I would emphasize areas north of the Thruway in northern Onondaga County have the greatest risk of damage as we're watching the worst part of the storm tracking northeast. Just moved east of Baldwinsville, and it's headed toward Shrupel, Clay, Cicero, Central Square, Brewerton as well. And will continue to track to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And that'll move over the west end of Oneida Lake. So if you're in those areas that I just mentioned, again, this is the time you should be taking action in Clay and Brewerton, Central Square even though you're not in the tornado warning, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. Costantia as well on the north shore of Oneida Lake toward Bridgeport. Be mindful that the storm is tracking very close and could be near you here in the next 10 to 20 minutes as that moves northeast. We've been using the velocity scan to really pinpoint and give you a sense of where the best rotation is. And notice, this goes back over the last hour, and you can see about 10 minutes ago, there was a tight, what we call couplet between the red and the green just north of Brutus and near Baldwinsville. And now that's become a bit broader. There's still a tornado warning in effect for northern Onondaga County, but the rotation is not quite as tight as it was, say at 2:10 this afternoon. And notice the movement of that is northeast. It's gone from near Brutus to Baldwinsville, and now again headed up toward the border there with Oswego County. And that's why we say watch out in Shrupel, as well as Brewerton and Central Square as well. So that's the storm that we're watching very closely right now. I'm going to go back over to our Skynet 9 camera, which again is located, there we go, this is near Hickory Hill, so it's a little farther east from Baldwinsville. And the rain has obviously picked up, getting the thunder and lightning there. I'm looking at the trees, and I don't see, certainly nothing that would indicate very gusty winds at that location right at this moment. But again, tornado warning still in effect.
I have a report of damage in Sackett's Harbor. There's a report of at least one tree into a house with injuries.
Okay.
So that is obviously a significant development there.
And that storm now has worked east of Sackett's Harbor and moving into Watertown, where there's a tornado warning that's in effect. Let's check the rotation up there. We've been tracking that one. That warning actually came out first before the one in Onondaga County. Not much in the way of rotation, but certainly some strong winds about to move into Watertown. So you should be in your safe space right now. And again, just a reminder, if your phone buzzed with a tornado warning, that means you should be taking action. It's not a matter of preparing, it's a matter of actually taking action and headed toward the lowest floor in the building that you're in. If you got a basement, that's great. If you don't, your next choice would be to get to the lowest floor, the first floor, and stay away from those outside walls, windows that could shatter and put blowing glass into those outer rooms. Go into a hallway where there are no windows, a bathroom that has a little bit more structural integrity in the wall because of all the pipes that are going to, the bathtub and the basin and whatnot. And that's another place that you can seek shelter. And again, those are for areas northern Onondaga County, central Jefferson County, where the tornado warnings are currently in effect right now until 2:30. So that's for the next 7 minutes. So there's the broader picture. In addition to the tornado warnings, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings that stretch from Jefferson County through Oswego County, and also parts of Cortland and a large chunk of Tompkins County. Thunderstorms have moved into the Ithaca area right now, but again, just a severe thunderstorm warning there. Still be mindful of winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour and any severe thunderstorm warning here this afternoon. Also, the storm producing quite a bit of lightning now as it works into southern Oswego County. Wouldn't be surprised if the Weather Service extends the tornado warning into parts of southern Oswego County as we get closer to 2:30 right now. The worst of that particular storm, even though the tornado warning goes from the city of Syracuse north, is north of the Thruway. So if you're north of the Thruway, those are the areas that have the best chance of seeing some damage right now, working toward Clay, Central Square, Brewerton, maybe close to Hastings as well, Costanza on the north shore of Oneida Lake. So
Skynet 9 on Weather B is showing some pretty good winds.
Okay,
there.
This is east of Baldwinsville, and you can see that's on Route 31. So that's with the storm, right there. Let's zoom in a little bit closer and stop it right there. I believe that camera is located right about in this location here. So, the worst of the storm is just to the north, but they're obviously getting some very heavy rain right now. The wind is picked up there on Route 31 east of Baldwinsville. The tornado warning in effect until 2:30 for northern Onondaga County, and in particular for areas north of the Thruway here for the next 5 minutes. Let me widen out the view here because got it zoomed in really close there. And as I mentioned, the next areas that we're watching for will be farther to the north and east. Given the movement of what we've seen with the lightning and also from the velocity scan, I'd be most concerned about places like Brewerton, Central Square, Costanza, West Monroe as well, over toward Panther Lake and Amboy in Oswego County as the storm continues to track off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So, okay. Getting a report.
See a little debris actually flying around with the in Baldwinsville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, take that full Very, very heavy rain there on Route 31. Yep, you can see the rain blowing around. Yep, and the trees on the right-hand side in particular. At the very least, probably some leaves being torn off the trees there. So we're getting some very strong winds. As we go back to the radar, let's do another tracker on this. The worst part of the storm now approaching Route 81. Continues to track off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So doing a tracker on this storm, West Monroe about 233, Cicero 230, Costanza 238, Amboy 244, Williamstown 248. So right now you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. So we know that much. We'll see as we get closer to 2:30 here whether National Weather Service is going to extend that warning. They're going to extend that and maybe perhaps extend that into Oswego County. But right now it's just northern Onondaga County, roughly from the city of Syracuse north, and also tornado warning in effect for Jefferson County. It's east of Sackett's Harbor. I'm actually going to go back to our Watertown camera, which is right in downtown Watertown. And there you go, the wind whipping in downtown Watertown, the trees bent over there with the storm now just moving through Watertown proper. And the camera actually shaking a little bit as well. Quite a bit of rain. This is a radar indicated tornadic storm. Hard to see if there, with the rain, the visibility's down, so it's very hard to see if there's actually a funnel, but nonetheless, tornado warning that's currently in effect for central Jefferson County until 2:30. So that's for the next 2.5 minutes. Let's go back to the velocity scan as we've been tracking that across Onondaga County. And again, the signal is much more broad. It doesn't have the tight rotation that we had about 20 minutes ago farther to the west. Notice back there west of Baldwinsville, there was certainly some tight rotation. Now it's broader as you look over, from Onondaga Lake stretching northward toward the Oswego County line. So there's broad rotation. It's not a tight rotation with that. It'd be more likely to see a tornado if these colors were closer together. But there's still that tornado warning that is in effect. And again, Clay, Brewerton just about to get into the worst of this particular storm as it works its way north and east. In fact, some of the strongest winds are probably working across Route 31 in the northern part of the county. There's that view again from James Alexander Skynet 9 east of Baldwinsville. So that's on Route 31. And, we're looking at very, very heavy rain, probably the heaviest rain that we've seen on this camera. Sheets of rain on Route 31 currently. Traffic's still moving along there. The wind maybe not quite as strong as what we saw here just a little bit ago, but the worst of the storm seems to be moving through that part of northern Onondaga County right now. So we're going to show you the warnings here. We're at 229 straight up. And, when we get to 2:30, we're just going to take a little reset for a couple of seconds, but we'll be right back on and give you the latest on these warnings. A number of the warnings there are set to expire at 2:30. We'll let you know in terms of whether there's any additional warnings. And notice there's also severe thunderstorm warnings stretching, up and down Route 81 corridor now as everything stretches to the east. And notice back to the west, things do quiet down. So this is the main act that we're seeing right now in terms of these thunderstorms. This tornado warning still in effect for central Jefferson County, a small sliver of eastern Cayuga County and northern Onondaga County roughly for the next 15 seconds. A lot of lightning, also some heavy rain in these storms as well, and damaging winds of greater than 60 miles per hour as these storms continue to track to the north and east. So we're going to take a quick pause and then we will be right back.
This is a Storm Team Alert, certified as Central New York's most accurate.
Good afternoon. I'm Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Jim Teskey, continuing to track severe weather across central New York. Some good news, no tornado warnings in effect. They all expired at 2:30. That being said, there still are severe thunderstorm warnings, so I just want to at least bring you up to date on where the warnings are currently in effect. So we've got the warnings across parts of Jefferson, Lewis, Oswego County until 3:30 this afternoon. Also, northern parts of Onondaga County, sliver of northwestern Madison County, that until 2:45. And also thunderstorms rumbling across Tompkins County, now east of Ithaca, heading toward Cortland. Cortland, you're not in a warning right now, but I could see that warning being extended after 2:45. Most concern is probably the storm moving out of Onondaga County into southern parts of Oswego County, producing quite a bit of lightning right now as it works its way to the north. So the worst of the storm is crossing 81 between Brewerton and Hastings. Still a good idea to take some shelter in eastern Oswego County, say from Hastings, Amboy to Cleveland and Constantia as that storm moves north and east. Some very strong winds with that storm, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So we're looking at Brewerton. Is that Route 11 that we're looking at? That's Route 11. You can see the darkening skies there. Visibility not too bad because the heaviest rain is still off to the west. And I'm guessing, well, we're looking either north or south, given that that's Route 11 right now. So the rain about to pick up there in Brewerton area. Watch out for gusty, perhaps damaging winds as that moves to the north and east. As I shift the view back to the west, you see more in the way of gray back toward Fulton, Baldwinsville, north of Auburn. There may be some hail in there as well on the backside of these storms as they work to the north and east. We do continue to have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for central New York into early evening. But by the sites that we're seeing here on the radar, we're seeing the worst of the storms right now. Here we are at 2:30, and these storms are moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So I think, you know, as we get closer to 3:30, the threat's going to begin to shift east of the Syracuse area. Still kind of keeping an eye on these individual storms. And there we go. We got a new tornado warning just in. This has shifted a little farther east. So essentially the north end of Onondaga Lake and then across the west end of Oneida Lake as well. So that includes Clay, Salina, Liverpool, Bridgeport, Cicero. And again, I would carry that over toward Constantia and Cleveland as well. So you should be in a safe spot now. That goes until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So that's a brand new warning, a tornado warning in effect for northern Onondaga County. The worst part of that storm is it's been tracking close to Route 31, is getting ready to move over the west end of Oneida Lake. I don't know if we can go back to that Brewerton camera. That's downtown Syracuse. You can see a shelf cloud there as the worst of the weather is north of our camera view in the heart of downtown. If we can go back to the Brewerton camera just to get a sense of what's going on there. Okay, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to show there's the Skynet 9. The rain's still falling there just east of Baldwinsville, but the worst of that particular storm now has shifted to the north and east. We'll show you the warnings again here. There's the Brewerton camera right now. Visibility's down. Rain has increased there. Looks like they're more still images right now, so you can't really get a sense for the wind on that. We do have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect and one tornado warning, and that's Onondaga County, although the worst of the storm is north of Syracuse. So we zoom in here, Clay, Cicero, Bridgeport, and there's Brewerton, a live shot there. A lot of rain going on right now, but the trees there in the foreground not moving a whole lot. The worst of the storm is passing very close to Brewerton right now. Going back to the radar, we can get the sense. A lot of lightning, cloud ground lightning, also a big concern as it moves into Oswego County. Other areas that are in the tornado warning, Clay, Cicero, as well as Bridgeport. And I got to believe that they're going to extend that warning into southeastern Oswego County, just given the motion of that. So if you're in that warning area, Clay, Bridgeport, and even the north shore of Oneida Lake from West Monroe and Constantia over toward Cleveland, now's the time to head to your safe spot. You should be getting good at this routine at this point, given the severe weather we've had over the last week. Head to the lowest floor in your house or apartment. Go to the basement if you've got one. If you don't, go to the first floor. Stay away from any windows. Go to an interior hallway or bathroom. That provides the best protection. By the way, if you're going into the basement, before you do that, just turn up the volume on your TV if you're watching us. That way, if you're down in the basement, you can get the updates while you're down there and in your safe spot. We're going to go back to the velocity scan because that's been a useful tool in showing where the worst part of this storm, where rotation is occurring right now. And there's the track near Baldwinsville. And now we're getting a little tighter rotation, so the storm may be strengthening a little bit. So what we're looking at here is the direction and the speed of the raindrops. So we've got inbound winds where you see the blue and the green right here near North Syracuse going toward the radar Montague, outbound away from the radar coming through Clay. So we've got rotation here, and that's why they've issued this. We've gotten no confirmation of a funnel cloud or a touchdown of a tornado, but this is a radar indicated tornado because of this rotation that's showing up on the Doppler radar. So that's passing over Salina, North Syracuse, Clay, Cicero as it works toward the southwest shore of Oneida Lake. Oneida Shores being impacted by that, headed toward Bridgeport as well. So that's where the rotation is, the most likely area for damage currently. We're going to widen out and do a tracker on this. Whoops, we got in the Zoom. So that's Route 81 in Cicero. You can see traffic moving along there, and you can see also the rain falling right now, maybe not quite as heavily. Again, the most concerned, crossing 81 right now, by the way, that rotation that you see showing up on the screen right now. As we do a tracker, going to east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. We're going on the assumption that the strongest part of the storm is crossing 81 near Clay and Cicero. So that would mean the worst part of this storm. And actually, I'm going to do this again because it's a little bit broader in terms of where the damage could be. So let's take it down toward the airport and then go out about half an hour. So in the next half hour, that part of the storm near Costanza and West Monroe by about 2:45. Farther east, Cleveland, 252. Sylvan Beach, you could be impacted by that by the time we get to 3 o'clock. So that's only 20 minutes away. You may see darkening skies to your west. Now is probably a good time to take some shelter. You're not in a warning right now, but the storm continues to track off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So if you're just tuning in right now, we do have that tornado warning that's currently in effect for northern Onondaga County. That's until 3 o'clock. Worst of the weather roughly north of the Thruway. And that continues to track off to the north and east. There's still severe thunderstorm warnings. Storms have moved through the Watertown area. There was a tornado warning earlier there between 2 and 2:30. Had some damage reports around Sackett's Harbor. Much of Oswego County under a severe thunderstorm warning. Quite a bit of lightning. The worst of the storm now east of Oswego there. And also tracking storms farther to the south. Got to keep an eye on these. Right now, just severe thunderstorm warnings, but notice these cluster of storms not quite into a line right now. There's still kind of individual cells, and those are storms in a situation like this that could easily start to rotate and cause issues and perhaps even some tornado warnings. But right now, it's just severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Cortland, Shenango, Tompkins County. The worst of those storms have passed east of Ithaca, though they are moving close to Cortland again. Of course, Cortland and areas north and east hit hard yesterday with some thunderstorms as well. As we take a look again at the tornado warning, again, basically the northern suburbs, Clay, Cicero, over toward Bridgeport under that warning until 3 o'clock. So that's roughly the next 40 or next 21 minutes here. And then also out over Oneida Lake. If you live in parts of Oneida County, Vienna, Camden, Sylvan Beach, Verona Beach, now's the time to take shelter because the storm is moving very quickly at about 40 miles per hour. If you know anyone that was going to the beach there on the east end of Oneida Lake, let them know that there's a bad storm that's out there that's headed their way, even though there's no warning. News development here, farther south, there we go. And as soon as I show that, the warning comes out. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for the southern part of Onondaga County. Let's see, that's until 3:45. And again, that's with this new development on the south end. Got to keep an eye on these storms as well as they work their way to the north and east. We'll be keeping a close eye on rotation, whether there is any rotation farther to the south. But right now, nothing to indicate any possibility of tornadoes across areas from Syracuse south toward Cortland, but a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for areas south of Syracuse. So essentially, the 81 corridor has some type of a warning all the way from Binghamton north through Syracuse. Again, that tornado warning over the northeastern part of Onondaga County and much of Oneida Lake, and then stretching and up toward Watertown as well. That's Northern Boulevard currently, and you can see that the camera's shaking. Visibility is down. very heavy rain falling. Let's see if we can get close to where that would be. So, yeah, it's like a nighttime view. So that's under where the tornado warning is currently located. So let's see, Northern Boulevard's in this general area right in here. So they're in that area where the tornado warning's in effect right now. Other areas, like, obviously North Syracuse, Cicero, it's crossing 81 right now. The worst of the storm headed up toward Bridgeport as well. That tornado warning in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon. As we widen out, show you the wider perspective. Again, these are fast-moving storms. They're moving to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. A lot of one tornado warning, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings currently in effect. The good news is back to the west, things are beginning to wind down across western New York, Rochester, and also portions of the Finger Lakes. So there's where the warnings are currently located. And you can see that tornado warning in effect now over northern Onondaga County and northwestern Oneida County until 3 o'clock this afternoon. I've got Jeff Kulikowski here. I don't know if you can add anything in terms of damage that you've heard of in the scanners or anything.
Well, Jim, we have been monitoring that. Not anything significant as of this point. Actually, Kate Thornton, still on the beat, even though she's not in the station, emailed in to say that there was a tree down near Bear Road Elementary right now. We don't really have anything more detailed than that, so we are obviously have a photographer on our way to check that. No extensive damage that we're seeing, and as far as any power outages right now, scattered at best, a fair amount to the south of us, but I'm guessing those may be possibly left over from yesterday's storm as well. So all in all, maybe a little bit more bark than bite, thankfully, but certainly severe. And we're starting to see just the beginnings of a heavier rain here in DeWitt. I know we're not really in those most severe areas.
Yeah, we're not in the tornado warning where our station is in East Syracuse, but we are under a severe thunderstorm warning. We are watching those storms farther to the south and east. Oops, we zoomed in a little bit too close there. Trees down in Henderson. That was with a storm that had a tornado warning out earlier. There are the warnings, again, severe thunderstorm warnings south of Syracuse, Lafayette, Cortland getting hit right now. Winds could be gusting past 60 miles per hour with the line of storms that are moving through there. Still keeping a close eye on the tornado warning. That's in the northern part of Onondaga County, part of Madison, a sliver of Oneida County as well. We've been using the velocity scan, which has been really useful here so far this afternoon, showing the rotation. May not be as tight as it was over the northwestern part of the county, but as we zoom in a little bit closer here, I would say we still have some rotation showing up on the screen right here, inbound winds, outbound winds from the radar. So north of Syracuse, probably around Cicero, near Brewerton and Bridgeport, and that's moving northeast. So that's moving out over Oneida Lake, and will continue to move to the north and east. And so that's why you got to keep your guard up in southeastern Oswego County, northwestern parts of Oneida County as well, because that's where that particular storm is headed, given the motion of this storm. Let's go out a little bit wider.
And Jim, these things are moving really quickly, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to be on guard, even though you may not be quite in it yet, or even a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah. You really should be on your toes right now.
Yeah, we mentioned before, like Camden and Florence, Sylvan Beach, Vienna, Verona Beach. If you have someone that went to, Sylvan Beach or Verona Beach for the afternoon, give them a heads up, because they're not in a warning right now, but the storm, given it's moving 40 miles per hour, in fact, we'll do a tracker and we'll just see, how long it would take for that part of the storm to get close. I mean,
and we've seen these be extended too.
Yes, they've been extended.
Across,
this started in Cayuga County, and now has been extended through northern Onondaga and parts of Oneida and Madison counties. Anything new?
Tower camera is looking pretty intense and slowing down the forward speed to 25 miles per hour.
25?
This latest. Yep.
Okay, so this is slowing down. So we'll redo the tracker, and while we're doing that, yes, go to our tower cam. Is that tower cam or is that roof cam?
That's tower.
Tower cam in downtown Syracuse. Yeah. I'm just going to adjust the speed. You said 25 or 35?
25.
25. So we're going to change that to 25. So as we come back, Okay, we'll show roof cam here in East Syracuse. You know, we're only a mile and a half away from where that camera is in downtown Syracuse, and you can see just lighter rain for the time being. But again, things can change in an instant because of the motion of the storm. So with the slower speed now, it's going to take a little bit longer to get toward the end of east end there of Oneida Lake, but Sylvan Beach a little bit after 3 o'clock. Vienna also about 3:17 as well. And, you know, there's some strong winds, even if there's not a whole lot of rotation, you know, south of Bridgeport, maybe even toward Manoa as well. Looks like there could be some gusty, damaging winds there. That's right on the edge of that tornado warning as well. That's until 3 o'clock, so we got about 14 minutes to go left on that particular warning.
Jim, does that slowing down of the storm, does that do anything to the winds? Does that put people more in line for these than they would before? Does it make it more intense, less intense? Does it change anything in that aspect?
There's a view of Central Square. I don't think it has too much to do with the intensity, whether it's strengthening or weakening, but it potentially puts you under the part of the storm that's the nastiest for a little bit longer. Before it was going 40 miles per hour, it moved very quick. Now that it's slowed down, and one of the concerns I would have is a greater risk for some flash flooding. Of course, everyone had rain yesterday, and now we're getting heavy rain with these storms, and if they slow down a little bit, you know, you're going to get more rain, and that adds on to the other impacts that are going on right now.
And I think some of those areas that are seeing some of these storms or in these warning areas have been battered Thursday. They were battered again potentially yesterday, and now even a slightly weaker wind could bring down limbs or trees or things that are already weakened.
Yeah, there were probably a number of trees and tree limbs that were damaged but not brought down yesterday. And now this next line is coming through, and potentially, you know, you've got a risk for more damage because of that. You know, these warnings have been out for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. John, I don't know what the winds gusts at the airport were, if there were any, if you got any official gusts there.
Yeah, I got a gust actually up to 49 miles an hour.
Okay, 49 miles per hour at the airport.
Yep.
What time was that?
2:39.
2:39, so less than 10 minutes ago. So the worst.
Actually, we had a 40 mile per hour gust.
Okay.
Yeah, in like the last 10, 15 minutes.
So,
40s,
but the
40s
highest you saw was 49.
It's 49, yeah, exactly.
49 is the highest gusts.
Pretty significant wind speed,
Significant.
right?
I mean, for severe weather, 56, 57 is usually the threshold. But again, with weakened trees and limbs, a 50 mile per hour wind gust could do some damage. And also what I'm picking up on is the increase in lightning. That's a little concerning. Usually when storms are rapidly developing, you start to see a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning. We're seeing that over southern Oswego County right now as the storms track off to the east. In fact, we're going to show you Parrish. This is, I think, 81. I would assume 81. Very heavy rain falling there as well, as they are in the heart of the storm. I'm going to take the lightning off here for just a second, because sometimes when you get all this lightning, it's hard to see.
Clutters up.
Yeah, there's hard to get perspective. So let's see if we can get to Parrish. There's
Picture we're looking,
Hastings.
where is that picture,
That's
guys?
in Parrish
It is
on
Parrish?
81.
Okay, it is.
So that's near Hastings. Let's see if I can get a little closer there. May even be some hail. You see that gray area, and that's the graphical presentation. It's looking inside the storm, and potentially that's where there would be some hail from Central Square at Hastings up toward Pulaski. It's that part of the storm under a severe thunderstorm warning. Right now, the only this is okay. Look how things change in just a couple of minutes. So the leading edge to the storm has moved through here outside our studios in East Syracuse. We're getting our strongest winds here. Also some very heavy rain. At least that part of the storm is not under a tornado warning, but you know, a good chunk of Onondaga County under severe thunderstorm warning. We've got the tornado warning currently in effect. There's Central Square. This is the mesonet, and you can see the time lapse of the storms as they work their way in over the last, probably over the last hour, I would think. And you can see the last frame showing the current conditions where the visibility is down because of the heavy rain, obviously. So there's the warning. What is it? It's we got 10 minutes left on this warning, the tornado warning that's over northeastern Onondaga County, stretching into a sliver of northern Madison and northwestern parts of Oneida County. So the storm continues to move off to the east-northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So it's a slower speed. There's a wider view. The warnings pretty much up and down the 81 corridor right now. Still in effect anywhere from 3 until 3:30 this afternoon. And, even though the forward speed has shifted and kind of downshifted a little bit, this will be clear of the Syracuse area, the worst of it between 3 and 4 o'clock. So everything moving at least steadily to the east at this point. So the severe threat should start to diminish. And thankfully, there's not much back to the west. A couple of showers in Rochester, nothing in Buffalo right now. So you're seeing the main action, and the main action is really north of Syracuse, crossing the west end of Oneida Lake. Quite a bit of lightning between Brewerton and Hastings right now, up toward Amboy. That storm continues to track off to the east-northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So I'm going to take the lightning out, maybe do another scan to take a look and show you the track of the heaviest rain, strongest winds. This goes, roughly the next half hour. So that'll be moving into Sylvan Beach, Vienna here as we get past 3 o'clock. And then as far east as Lee at 3:22, West Turin at 3:27. I've got to believe there'll probably be some more warnings, probably mostly severe thunderstorm warnings, but I wouldn't rule out, some more tornado warnings with this line as it moves to the east right now, 25 miles per hour. There's that tornado warning until 3 o'clock. So we've got another 9 minutes left with that. We want to bring the view farther to the south because there have been some strong storms around Cortland. It's out of Ithaca now. So Ithaca, your threat for severe weather has ended, but a strong storm moving through the Cortland area right now. Lafayette. I don't know if we can punch up the Pompey camera. I would assume that storm moving very close to Pompey. It looks like it's not quite there at the transmitter site.
You can see that rain off in the distance.
Yeah,
now, can't you?
that's rain that's falling in Syracuse. And now we're going to go back to downtown tower camera, and still raining very heavily. Although, again, the worst will be lightening up here between now and 3:30. There's lighter rain over the western part of Onondaga County currently, but we're seeing the worst. 49 mile per hour wind gust a little bit more than 10 minutes ago in North Syracuse at the airport. We've taken the lightning out just so it's a little easier to see the graphical presentation here, and you can see the warnings that are currently in effect. Still have that tornado warning in effect for northern Onondaga County out over Oneida Lake until 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Jim, I think that's Nedro, they're telling me. Is that okay. Nedro 81 north going?
Okay, on 81, very heavy rain. Looks like there's probably some ponding going on there. Obviously, folks on the road need to take a little extra precaution there in terms of driving and make sure you're under the speed limit, certainly. Looks like a rest stop.
Yep.
Okay. Chittenango. So the rain's moving in on the radar. There it is. Chittenango. Where is it? It disappeared from me there. There it is. Chittenango right in there. So they're seeing some heavy rain. They're just south of the tornado warning. Again, that tornado warning in effect now for another 6 minutes. We'll see if they extend that. In fact, we'll take a look. Jeff's gotten some good views here of the velocity scan over the last week, so he's getting pretty good at this. Well, it's kind of a muddled mess here. I mean, the thing to keep in mind earlier on, rotation was very clear over the western part of the county. Now, it's a little tougher to see.
You need them. You need the red and greens fairly
really
tight together, right?
Really bright. In this case, it was some blue, light blue. It went from green to light blue, and then red right next to it. And now, there's probably some broad rotation in a few spots here near Bridgeport. There's probably some very strong winds near Chittenango as well. But not quite the strong, what we call couplet that we saw coming into northwestern Onondaga County around Baldwinsville. That was, close to an hour ago. So we'll see if they, put another tornado warning out. They may not. We'll know in another 5 minutes. Regardless, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Places like Vienna, Rome, Marcy, also up toward Amboy and into the heart of the Tug Hill Plateau.
And Jim, I think the other thing to point out to people too is regardless of whether you actually see any damage, experienced any damage, actually a viewer just emailed in. Obviously, we don't have this confirmed, but reporting some trees and power lines down in that Baldwinsville, Phoenix area where the winds were showing pretty strong in that area.
Yes.
So you really need to be careful still if you're out out on the roadways, especially with that ponding. You've talked about it many times. If you see water, don't just assume. Trees down, power lines down.
Yeah, you may have live power lines that are down, and you don't want to be crossing or walking across that. Let's see, let's go back. We've got a map as far as power outages, if someone can pass along any numbers from National Grid if they have them. It looks like some areas, you know, looks like east of Baldwinsville, a cluster there. Is that still town of Salina probably? Probably just west of Clay, and Cicero seems to be a cluster of power outages in those locations. And again, that's where we were seeing some of the best rotation. Okay, there we go. Onondaga County. Well, we're up to 1,800.
Okay. Which is not that much more than when I walked in here maybe 30 minutes ago or so.
Yeah, and most of that's in the town of Clay. 1,600 of those customers are in Clay that don't have any power currently. Obviously, a little too early to assess when power would come back. So there are the current warnings, mostly severe thunderstorm warnings right along the 81 corridor. The one tornado warning over northeastern Onondaga County. Where's that camera from? Because that 481 Northern Boulevard. So we're getting quite a bit of wind there. The camera shaking. You know, the airport, which isn't too far away from Northern Boulevard, had a wind gust of 49 miles per hour about 20 minutes ago. So there's the latest in terms of the warnings. We'll get an update here as we get to the top of the hour. We'll briefly drop out, but then come back in about 5 seconds as we kind of reset and give you the latest as that one tornado warning will expire at that point. There's Route 481 just around the corner from our station. I would believe that that's the DeWitt-Fayetteville interchange right now. Rain is falling heavily there as well. Visibility is down because of that. And that's another concern. You know, you run into these sheets of rain and it's tough to see. And you got the ponding and, you know, the potential for gusty, damaging winds as well.
Jim, I'm just looking at some of the more specific areas of these power outages here, as you mentioned. Definitely some, about 800 in that, just maybe to the west of Camillus. There's also a bigger number here just to the north of Onondaga Lake, stretching into about 2,500 people there. That's covering, what would you say, Seneca Knolls?
Well, just north of Seneca Knolls. I think that's, you know, town of Salina, just west of Bayberry as well.
John Glenn Boulevard.
So we're keeping a close eye on that.
Just a little bit to the north of that, about 1,700 just to the north, kind of that 31 corridor up there as well.
There we go. You can see those clusters. So we're probably pushing 5,000 customers without power in Onondaga County. I would guess that number will probably increase as National Grid assesses the situation right now. There are the warnings across portions of central New York right now. National Grid in Oswego County reporting 1,800, almost 1,900 without power, including around Fulton, Phoenix, Shrupel. Onondaga County, it's 5,500. Camillus, Clay, Lysander, and Salina. Those are the areas that are hardest hit in terms of power outages there. So we're going to be tracking this here for the next minute. We'll take a quick break and see where we are at that point. That's 481 at the Thruway, so that's a little north of the northern, or south, actually, I think it may be south of Northern Boulevard. Anything new?
The latest severe thunderstorm warning into Madison, or northwest Madison, central Oneida County, is for 70-mile-per-hour wind gust and half-dollar-size hailstones.
Okay, and possible tornado?
Didn't say that. It is moving northeast at 45.
Oh, now we're back up to 45.
And did not mention the possibility of a tornado at this point.
But still 70-mile-per-hour winds, you got to take that very seriously. Yep. So, even if it's straight-line winds, that's going to be a serious situation. So, there's a number of severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect until 3:30 that will probably still be in effect when we come back here, but we'll be dropping out, and hopefully at that point, the tornado warning will have expired, and hopefully there will not be a new tornado warning that will be issued by the National Weather Service. But that's where we stand right now with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warning in effect, northeastern Onondaga County. We'll be right back.